Okay, so I want to do a small video and maybe viewed by next to no one, and that doesn't really matter to me, you know. Really, I like to get things down that I think are true. And then in the future, even if I just look back, or someone may look back and say, oh, that was absolutely true, you know. This one seems so obvious to me, but I'm going to put it out there. And what the theme is, why the Turning Point USA halftime show is actually very, very important for the United States. It's a very, very important thing that has happened that I think everyone in the United States should look at and try to understand. Okay? So we know what happened. The Super Bowl, the NFL, as is typical of them, they wanted to get the biggest star, and it turned out he won Best Album just recently as well. So, not just someone who is popular, but they managed to get someone who is extremely talented and popular and well respected. And for whatever reasons, that Turning Point don't like him, they came up with this halftime show, which is an alternative. Now, let's think back. Everyone has been saying in the conservative circles that DEI would essentially make America mediocre, right? Because you are giving a job to someone that perhaps doesn't deserve it, which is not how DEI works at all. But what Turning Point has shown us, as a matter of fact, is that by judging people based on the language they speak, perhaps, or the religious affiliation, which Kid Rock, the religious person, okay, hey, anyone can be religious, you don't know. Judging people based on that and giving them the headline act, that is what produces mediocrity. Kid Rock is the very definition of mediocrity. No awards, only decent sales, but also, if you look at it from a musical perspective, not a huge talent at all. And these are the people that are trying to tell you that DEI will cause mediocrity. It's an absolute joke. Make America great again. What does it mean? How do you become great? You become great by putting your best out there. And Bad Bunny right now is one of the best in the world. The compositions on his new album astound me. They are incredible. But some people live in fear. Fear of a language outside of their own. Fear that they will not be the dominant culture and they can't handle it. So we're talking about weak people. Those are not the people that the United States should be putting forward if the United States wants to be strong. Now, the funny thing is, capitalism may undo all of the disgusting things that are happening in the United States right now and this mediocrity that they are heading towards. And the Super Bowl kind of shows us that. Because if the Super Bowl decided, oh, you know, we should have Kid Rock on instead because he's really more like I don't know, he's not more American. He's what people see as America. That would be a failing plan. People would absolutely be disgusted with the lack of talent on stage, and it would tarnish their image incredibly, right? So, from a capitalist perspective, you want to be the best. As long as crony capitalism doesn't step in, your job is to be the absolute best, not to be mediocre. You're not going to grow your business by being mediocre. But why do I mention crony capitalism? Crony capitalism is exactly what Ayn Rand warned about. And you can like Ayn Rand and not like Ayn Rand and its philosophy, so you can get into discussions about that without hating each other. But crony capitalism is exactly what's going on in the United States now, where the government is getting heavily involved with companies like Intel, and the government has tariffs, and you, as a large company, may be able to buy your way around some of those tariffs. We've already seen this. But the small business that may be up and coming, they may not be able to get around the tariffs. We've seen the problems that the farmers have faced. We've seen the problems that border towns have faced, and they don't care about this. So what's the similarity between Turning Point USA halftime show being mediocre and the future of the United States economically? Well, with a government like this, they are going to make the United States mediocre. You cannot compete on the world stage simply by throwing up tariffs and putting your head in the sand. The United States is still fortunate right now that I think for EVs in Europe, Ford is still one of the number one. But they are being outclassed very quickly by BYD. And Trump is not going to help because he does not want to be part of the modern world. He wants gas guzzlers out there. So what an incentive is Ford going to have to compete? And we've heard the Ford CEO say he drove a BYD. He likes their cars. He's a bit worried, I'm sure. The tariffs are not going to make the automotive industry in the United States great. They are going to make them mediocre because guess what? They won't have to compete as much because the tariffs are going to prevent some of the competition. So when they say make America great again, what they really mean is make America more like a white English-speaking person, and who cares how mediocre we are. That's what they're really saying. It's obvious to everyone around the world, but maybe not so obvious to people in the United States. And people that fall for that are people that are scared and think that their life will be better if they hurt someone else. Not true. And even on an economic perspective, a lot of Americans hate Canada right now because we don't like the bullshit with your fucking tariffs. And they are happy to see our economy heading into a recession. You do not want the people that you sell stuff to going into a recession, you boneheads. And Trump is going to drive all of Europe and Canada into a recession. We know this is happening. I'm not going to stand here saying, Canada is so strong, we're going to make it. No, we're heading into a recession. But the United States is also going to head into a recession because they're one of the major trading countries in the world. And the only thing keeping them afloat is Google, Facebook, Amazon, and these companies are investing trillions, it looks like, into AI. And someone's going to have to pay for that eventually, right? So, yeah, this is my message. It's obvious now, if it wasn't obvious to you before, that the anti-DEI crowd is really about making America mediocre, because they will only choose what is like them, not the best. And from an economic perspective, that same attitude is going to make American companies mediocre. I could sit here and say racism is wrong and xenophobia is wrong. I'm not here to give a moral discussion. I'm telling you, these people are destroying America because they are scared and they prefer mediocrity over excellence. And so we talk about the United States, the economy, the American excellence. It's disappearing. And not only that, on the world stage, people are not as fond of the United States as they used to be. There's always been problems. Look throughout Latin America and American involvement. There's always been problems, but it's reaching a fever pitch now. So go ahead and continue with your ways, America, and be fearful and put your head in the sand. It will only make your country a lot worse. Thanks for watching. Have a good day.